how to get customers and raise money for your startup using only an idea validation deck. One mistake that I see founders make all the time is they try and raise money at the wrong time, or they use the wrong tools. And what happens is they either spend a bunch of money trying to build something or get a UX design going, some mock-ups. And then what they do is they'll either jump in and start building it and spend that money, or they'll have conversations at the wrong time and they don't know what they're building or even how to sell it. And in this video, I'm going to show you, using my own example, how you can use an idea validation deck before you go out and create all glitzy pitch deck and you spend weeks putting all the graphics together and going through all the assumptions that go into a pitch deck. The idea validation deck is so simple. You can set one up literally in hours. And I'm going to show you how I did it. And then you can start to get customers and raise money. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to give you the one secret that I use that gets all the investors super interested, and it's going to be great. So before we continue talking about the idea validation deck, which is a version of the minimum viable product, my name is Ed Kang. If we have not met before, 7-time funded founder, 2 exits, which is a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times. And that's the reason I use this YouTube channel, to try and educate everybody and accelerate your results so you don't make the same mistakes, or you make less of the mistakes and you get to where you want to be sooner. I am currently lead advisor at startups.com. I'm the general partner for a late stage accelerator fund and organization development consultancy out of Shanghai, China. And I am the general partner for a venture studio and alternative funding accelerator here in North America. And that is where I'm going to show you an example. This is one of the startups that I'm working on personally for our venture studio. Okay, let's jump into it. Appreciate everybody who is following along with us. Feel free to subscribe, hit that like button, do all the YouTube stuff, or wherever you're watching this on any social media, and feel free to ask questions, and more than happy to answer. What is an idea validation deck? It is simply an MVP, minimum viable product, of your startup. And by minimum, I'm talking so minimum that it's almost embarrassing. You're going to see this deck has no graphics other than this cute little unicorn that I grabbed off Midjourney, because, you know, I wanted to start using unicorns and things like that just as inspiration. But it is so minimal, no design. You're just trying to test and validate or invalidate the direction in which your startup is going. This is before I lay a single line of code. Okay, full disclosure, I have a team working on it now, but it's after I went through this process that I'm going to walk you through right now. So the first draft of your idea validation deck is very simple. It's got 3 things: problem, solution, and how it works. One problem statement, one solution statement, and how it works. Typically, I like to follow kind of like a 5-step, you know, here's how it works, and here's like what you're going to do step by step, or how my solution solves the problem step by step. Is it an app? Is it a web interface? What is it? What exactly is going to happen and what's going on? So that's the first draft. And then what happens is you take that draft and you get feedback on it. Remember, you haven't laid any code, you haven't done any mock-ups. You get feedback on it from people, especially customers or anybody who's going to be close to the target market, which is another thing you have to do, is you have to define it, and you'll be doing some customer discovery and figuring out who is my target market. But typically what happens is, because I do startups that are based on problems that I have or itches that I want to scratch, I look for other people like me and I have conversations with them. I say, can I just show you my idea validation deck? Here's the problem, solution, and how it works. And I'll talk to them. I'll say, does it make sense? What am I missing? Type thing. And it's passing the mom test, rich mom test, if you're looking for investors. That's the first draft. And then you go into the second draft, which is after you get feedback, you're going to add these slides. Market, which is Tam Sam Som, business model, competition, go-to-market strategy with some traction on there, team, who's on the team, you as the founder, and then funding. And as I said, when you get to the end of this, I'm going to show you my secret, and it's kind of like a tricky power move that I use to get investors super interested. All right. So this, if you've thought through your startup, and this is not going to solve the issue if you've got a startup idea that's just not developed enough or not concise enough, or you just haven't really thought it through. You're going to need to be very concise if you're going to pull this idea validation deck off. So pretty much in this case, I've been thinking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks, okay, almost months, and been batting it around, testing it, going through the idea maze in my mind before I started talking to people about it, and then slowly start having verbal conversations, and this deck start to come together. So let me give you an example, and you can take this and say, all right, how would I do my own deck in that way? Here's my problem statement. By 2030, AI automation threatens to displace 9.69 to 19.38 million independent contractors, consultants, and coaches, creating an American unemployment crisis unless these professionals transition to a new job market. All right, so let's pull this apart just a little bit, and I'm going to let you know. So I use ChatGPT. So I tell ChatGPT, here are my problem statements, or what problem statements would you use using version 4? And we go back and forth, and ChatGPT helps me iterate, right? So a few things. So first, I'm highlighting time, and then I'm highlighting who it's for and how big the problem is, all right? So by 2030, okay? So we know the problem is going to be in AI automation, but this is how big my market is. And then who it is, independent contractors, consultants, okay, and coaches. And then an unemployment crisis. So I'm going to make the pain there, right? Unless something is done. All right. So these are the things that go into the problem statement, because you need to sell the investor, or you want to sell the customer that you understand the problem, or sell the investor. The investors probably isn't an independent contract consultant or coach, right? Maybe they are, but they've been in the past. But right now, if they're going to be signing you big checks, they're not in that. But they might relate. Most of the times, they might not relate. So you're going to sell and make this problem statement so concise. Now, remember, I've been testing this back and forth, and I'll verbally talk to some people, and I'll say, do you get it? And they go, yeah, that actually makes, a lot of sense. And so that's how you do the problem statement. The next is, all right, I kind of blacked out because I'm not ready to unveil the name yet, other than the people who've been looking at this personally. But my company, my startup, is a new type of job marketplace using AI consultants and coaches for initial services, then seamlessly transitioning opportunities to live contractors when needed, enabling independent professionals to upskill into high value, personalized in an AI-driven market. Personalized service in an AI-driven market. Okay, what's the secret here? Pretty much, my solution statement is the reverse of the problem, right? So, the issue a lot of times that founders get into is their problem and solution statements don't align. So you just go backwards. And so I go, okay, so here's my solution. It's a new job marketplace. And my solution is to use AI coaches and consultants first, and then seamlessly transition opportunities to live contractors when needed, enabling them to upskill. That's my solution, into a high-value, personalized, AI-driven market. Notice how I said there's going to be an unemployment crisis if we don't transition to a new market. Well, this is how we transition to a new market. But all this is unique and novel in terms of this is the solution that I'm going to be putting out. So the secret is get your problem statement clear and then reverse the problem statement into your solution statement. Literally tick by tick. If you've mentioned one thing, if you've mentioned money as a problem or friction of time as a problem, in your solution, you should be addressing money. If it's too expensive, your solution should say, this saves you money. If it takes too much time, there's too much friction, your solution say, it removes friction and saves people time. That's how you do it. Okay, so idea validation deck. Then here's the third part of my first draft is how it works. And I just literally step by step, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And notice how I haven't put in all this technical jargon on it. It is literally a step-by-step storyboard of what happens. Independent professional creates a profile on our site for approval. That's it. Doesn't talk about forms or blockchain or, all this stuff. Doesn't do anything. It just says, here's what happens. And if you can't boil it down in a few steps, usually I like to do 5, then it's going to get way too complicated, right? And then I just add a few other points in there. And, I'm starting to develop the narrative. So that's the first draft. So problem, solution, how it works. And I take that and I go get feedback. That's it. And then I'm working it, iterating. And then once I get the feedback, then I'm going to start adding these slides. Well, actually, before I get there, this is an example of how it would work. So this is a conversation between a client and a chatbot per my solution. And I put that in there just so people could start imagining and give me feedback on it. And I did live tests with this with actual potential clients who are going to start paying for this service. So that's how it gets in there. Okay, now I go into total market size. All right. And I want to be able to explain, this is my target market, and this is how big the problem is, and this is the reason it's going to be a unicorn. It's going to be a billion-dollar company. That's the reason I use robot unicorns to inspire me. So pretty much what you have here is TAM, SAM, SOM. All right. So TAM is total addressable market. That is, if everybody who could potentially use your service used it, how many would that be and how much money that you'd make? I just went with how many that would be. And I got some stats from MBO Partners that there's 64.6 million independent contractors, okay, consultants and freelancers out there. All right. So I'm going big. And then I'm going to say our initial target market is the 21%, which is 13.57 million, that work as professional service consultants. So TAM is everybody. SAM is who we're going to focus on, who fits our business model. And then SOM is what we realistically going to do. And I say, if we capture 5% of our target market, which is our SAM, then we'll be making $163 million a year. All right. So these are very realistic. I'm not going to say I'm selling to all 64.6 million people. I'm saying here's where I'm going to focus, and I only have to reach 5% of the market. And that needs to be a believable market number. Now, I want to raise money and turn this into a unicorn. So I need over $100 million to get me to $1 billion pre-IPO valuation. So, I calculated it out and I got to $163 million. And someone may ask me, well, how did you get there? I go, don't worry, I'm going to show you the math, right? But that's what we're doing is we're figuring out, okay, how many people are displaced because of AI? Remember, I showed that. And then who's in our target market? And I'm going to explain that as we go. But in this slide, I just want to show this is a big idea and it could be making a ton of money. Next, going through this business model. So here's how I'm going to make money. I plan to charge $20 per month per chatbot. That's it. And here are the features that I'm going to put in there that's going to make the $20. So how you make money. The business model slide is how you make money. And, nothing's stuck in stone. Okay. I've got plans. I'm going to do this, but I'm in idea validation, so I'm pretty much straightforward. I'm going to explain the reason I got to this. I'm going to charge $20 per month per chatbot because that's how much people pay for ChatGPT right now, right? And we're using ChatGPT to build the MVP. And so it just makes sense for me. So I'm going to say $20 per month per chatbot is where I got to. And people go, okay, that makes sense. But I say, I may change it, right? I may not be able to charge it, but this is what I'm figuring out. And now I've shown them how I got to the $165 million because I'm charging $20 per month. Either way, it's a big market. And then, I have like a list of features. And, at this moment in time, people who will be customers will care about this, but this is features in the future. The MVP obviously isn't going to be doing this. Moving along, competitive differentiator. And I just want to put out a unique insight to capture people's minds, all right? And I know a lot of times you look at competitive slides, and it's either that matrix that you've got going on. You've either got the quadrant model, which I actually like and I'm going to use in the beginning, or you've got this matrix where you've got, features, and then you got competitors at the top, and then you got X, check, X, 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 and then your solution here is check, 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 right? You've seen that type of competitive slide. Well, that's too much at the idea validation stage. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to put out a statement, say, this is my unique insight that I've got in the marketplace. And I'm going to say competitors use AI to automate and replace workers. Our solution augments independent professionals through automation, reskilling them to create a new class of AI-infused work and opportunity. That's it. So I'm going to say, this is exactly how I'm different from everything else going out there. This is my unique insight. I'm not building AI to automate and be virtual agents and, all this stuff. I'm actually doing it to use it in a different way. And I want to get people's imagination. I want them to go, oh, that makes sense. How you're different. I'm separating myself from the pack, because a lot of AI projects out there are all about generative AI, going to replace workers, automate stuff, all those things. I'm going in the opposite direction, and that's the way that I like to work. I wouldn't be pursuing this project if I didn't believe that we were different and that we were going to fill an underserved need in the marketplace. So then here is my quadrant model, right? Competitive analysis. And I just very simple. And, I'm going to explain to them that, all right, so AI falls into, these 4 categories, either customer support, okay, virtual agents and building bots, or deep learning, like ChatGPT. We are in a quadrant on our own, right? And so a lot of people kind of complain and they criticize, well, you just manufactured it that way so that you're in your own quadrant. Yeah, I did. That's the whole point. I want to do that so that I can show people that I'm thinking of a different quadrant than everything else is in, and they can give me feedback and no, that's the wrong quadrant. Idea validation. Remember, I'm okay with being challenged at the idea validation stage. I don't get insecure. If someone says, no, I don't see it that way, I go, okay, thank you. Tell me how you do see it and how I should adjust this. And so I have my own quadrant because I'm putting out an assumption that I will be in my own quadrant, but that could be blown out of the water depending on who I talk to, right? And in fact, this one, I've been building this quadrant over time because people have been asking me, what about Zendesk? What makes you different than those other organizations or those other products and startups? And that's how I'm establishing what goes on my X and Y axis. So competitive analysis. So I'm showing investors and potential companies or customers that I am putting in the work to think about my competition. You can't ignore that. I want to be wise and savvy, and I want to be able to say, I know something those people don't know, and here's how we're doing it different. And remember, notice how this is based upon the insights, the unique competitive insight slide that I had before. Moving along. Go-to-market strategy. We'll focus on narrow use cases with pre-committed clients during the MVP launch. This is my current go-to-market strategy. I haven't put in there, I'm going to do Google AdWords or content marketing or influencers, anything like that. This is how I'm starting because I want the investors to know how I'm approaching it step by step, right? If I put out there, I'm going to use Google AdWords and I'm going to go, find some celebrity. I'm going to get Al Pacino to endorse, okay? Then the investor is going to be thinking, you're going to need millions of dollars to even go do that. How do we even know it's worth the time and the money to go give it to them? So I'm, boiling down my go-to-market strategy in something that's bite-sized and believable. And then I'm showing traction. I'm like, here are my current beta clients. And if you looked at this list, they're impressive. I have people, I go, yeah, some of them, I can access government funding. They're government backed. And so I drop these little nuggets to customers because they're like, I want to be one of those beta customers. And then 2 investors going, Ed's already going out and selling this. This already could go out and make money or is already getting validated by initial customers. And then I'm going to say waiting list, sign up, landing page also planned. All right. So now you notice I'm building up some momentum. I'm building up the story, and that's what you want to do. And let's just be straightforward here. I put in a lot of work to get to this point in time. I'm hustling this and I'm having conversations. I've become that guy that every time I talk, I go, you know what? I got a solution for that problem, or this is the problem that I'm on. I don't want to be an annoying guy always pitching and selling investment. I want to be that guy known for embracing the problem and thinking it through. And that's how I get to these slides, right? So many founders go, I'm going to build a pitch deck and people are going to invest just on my idea. No, your pitch deck is a narrative to show that you are the right founder. And it's like a journal saying, here's how far I've come so far. And you want to have confidence in me. I'm de-risking your investment by showing my activity, how I'm articulating, getting this out there. That's the benefit of this pitch deck. All right. The team, currently evaluating possible team members. I put that in there because I want people to go, I want to be on that team, right? Checking it out. I want people to want to jump in and get excited. But then I'm just going to put a few bullet points of why I believe I'm qualified to do this. Lead advisor for startups.com. I'm an executive certified coach, registered organization development consultant, right? I've got experience as an independent professional, contracting, consulting, and coaching. And they're going to put that together and it's going to be impressive. So I'm going to demonstrate with the slide. I am the one that you want to invest in because I am ready to just wrap my arms around this problem. And I have the domain expertise to manage your money properly. And then here's the secret slide here. All right. And I got a bonus secret slide coming in a moment. But what's the reason I put this there? I don't want to ask for money at the MVP stage. I want to create I know I just got annoying there. Sorry. FOMO, right? FOMO, fear of missing out. This is what I'm doing, right? And so what have I done? I've said, you know what? I'm bootstrapping this and I don't need money. And I may not need money. That's the attitude that I take. Now, truth be told, I'm going to need money for this, right? Because of the amount of growth and what I have to build. I don't have enough personal funds to bootstrap it. But I am going to act like I don't need money, or by the time I do need money, I'm going to be so far ahead, you're not going to get the best deal. Investors know the earlier they're in, the more upside that they have, right? Because it's a bigger risk. So when I say funding is currently not required as we build and test our MVP, what am I doing? I'm planting the seed with investors because they're going to say, well, tell me how that MVP goes. Keep me on the list. Or I'll ask them, but I will put you on a list and I'll let you know the milestones of what's happening. So I'm building up and ginning up that FOMO because the more that I put it out there, the more I can delay the gratification, the longer I can hold out and spin up that story and create confidence and opportunity in that investor's mind because I'm getting data and metrics. I'm talking about these beta customers I'm coming on in the conversations. The more I can ask of them, or the less friction it will take for them to chunk their money in because they're selling themselves as they go, right? But then also I can disqualify some investors. They may say, yeah, not my thing, or good luck with that. And I can tell if they're not interested, and then I move on, right? But the ones that are going to be interested, customers and investors, are talking with me and they're getting emotionally invested in all the slides up to this point in time. And then I give them FOMO, is, how that works out. And I'll invite them into the process and go from there. So that's it. All right. So that's my secret. Create FOMO with that last slide. Now, let me give you the ultimate secret and how I operate every one of my startups. And the reason I've got a great track record of getting funding, at least seed level funding with my startups, rather than being one of those founders that is constantly just pitching and can't do anything until they raise money. They've actually built a startup to raise money, not built a startup to solve a problem. Here's the secret. This is it. Are you ready? Plan as if you won't need a single dollar from investors by bootstrapping customers first. That's how I'm doing it. In my mind, if I do not get a single dollar from an investor, I'll still be able to get this company up and running. It'll still make money. And hopefully it'll have so much growth that investors will be coming to me and saying, do you need money? Do you need money? Do you need money? Right? Plan. It's a core value that we have in our companies. We call it being pessimistically persistent. be a pessimist. I'm not going to raise a single dollar. If I wasn't raising a single dollar, how would I make this company work? Based on my revenue and income from other sources, what I'm able to set aside, how would I spend that money? And it changes the complete game, because so many founders go out there and say, I'm going to raise $2 million, and they start building their company with $2 million in mind. And then they can't do anything until they get that $2 million. That's wrong. Plan as if you won't raise a single dollar. And that's going to prevent you from getting into that quagmire, that quicksand of, I need to raise money and I can't do anything and I can't advance my startup until I raise money. No, I'm going to act like I'm bootstrapping all the way. And that gives me the swagger and the confidence and creates even more FOMO with the investors that's saying, please keep me posted. Do not talk to anyone until you talk to us about what's going on. And I'm going to let you know, it's already worked. I've already talked to a number of potential investors, my partners out there, and they've asked me, well, how much? And I said, well, I would consider taking $500,000 from the right investors. And they gave me a list of investors and different things. And they said, here's what we need in a pitch deck and, what have you. And I'm going to go explore that, but I don't need it. Okay. I'm acting like I don't need it, especially. And this is the key secret. Plan as if you won't need a single dollar from investors by bootstrapping customers first. All right. That's from my personal thoughts. I'm giving you exactly what I do every step of the way. If that was helpful, and I hope it was, let me know, comments, questions, and you can always join me at startups.com, where I run a regular cohort accelerator where I work with founders to do precisely this. In fact, a lot of them saw this before I recorded this YouTube video. Feel free to ask questions. Join me at startups.com. If you are part of startups.com already, and that's how you got here, thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. I love working with all the founders there. And that's it. Hopefully, there'll be another video. I'll see you next time. If there is a next time, I'm sure there will be. See you soon.